game? What's a game? Oh, a game.
Open wide for some content! That's right, I am back. Like a bad smell. Also like a bad smell, I'm as pungent as ever. Welcome to another stupid idiot challenge monotype Nuzlocke run, where I'm doing this because I'm incredibly bored, incredibly masochistic, and most importantly, incredibly starved for attention. Today I'll be doing fighting types in Ultra Sun, which is definitely a unique one for me because this is the first time I am playing a Gen 7 game for this channel. But it is also the third time I have attempted to play through either Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon since they came out. First was when it came out, like, ages ago, and the second time I've tried to play, we can talk about that later, and this is the third time, this run. So that's pretty exciting. It means I don't actually know what happens, unlike the previous gens where I know them like the back of my hand. This I know, I've heard about, I've looked it up. It's like, you know, my parents saying they're proud of me. In theory, I might know a little bit about it, but I'm sure I get a lot of the details wrong because I've just never experienced it. But I will address the elephant in the room right now. As this is my first time emulating a Gen 7 game, there are graphical issues. I couldn't get them out of there. I tried. They're mostly just little flicks, that sort of thing. If they're really annoying to you, I am sorry about them. Couldn't fix them. But I promised the Gen 7 video last video, and I think the video before that, so I thought, fuck it, I'll just push through. But if it sucks and you can't deal with it, don't have to watch this video. You can check out one of my previous videos. They're just as mediocre as you remember them. This time you'll know the lame jokes before they start, which is, I'm sure, a great experience. I picked Litten just because I like Litten, it really doesn't matter. I think Decidueye might be the hardest for the opponent to have. Maybe it was actually Primarina, I don't know. I just like Litten. But we do skip a lot of the super early game until we can get our first encounter. I'm sure you're not complaining. You've seen how long this fucking video is. There's enough content to feed like 6 families. It's fine. The real thing of interest in the early game is figuring out how I tackle it in terms of encounters, because there are 3 fighting types available, Makuhita, Mankey, and Hawlucha, and you can have a combination of all 3 if you want to. It's really down to how you pick it. So I've seen people have gotten the option of Makuhita in round 2 and then getting the Hawlucha in round 3, but instead I traded for a Hawlucha in route 2 to grab a Mankey in route 3. This does lock me out of getting a Makuhita, and Hariyama is going to be a better Pokemon than Primeape, so you might be asking, why did I do this? And to put it simply, it's because the Hawlucha we get from the trade, its name's Char, is cracked. It is brave-natured with 31 attack EVs. That is guaranteed. A max attack IV Hawlucha, minus speed sucks, but whatever, is going to be critical to this game going forward. That high attack Hawlucha will probably, I think, save us from a lot of really tough fights. And that very strong Hawlucha, as well as the Brick Break TM, allows us to sort of take the Totem Gumshoes freely. We beat it very, very, very easily. Hope you all like the new overlay, by the way. I got it commissioned like 1.5 billion years ago. I'm almost an actual YouTuber now. I just need, you know, an audience, and less of a soul, and my parents to despise me even more than they already do. I talk about my parents a lot. It's actually fine. Oh yeah, the other thing I need to be a proper YouTuber, some troubling allegations against me that I ignore or instead decide to sing about. And then that's all I need to be a proper YouTuber. But while we're talking about being YouTubers, we catch Mankey on Route 2, which we name Kishimoto. And it has an adamant nature, which is very cool. That plus the Brick Break TM again means we have zero trouble getting through this first island. as long as we are smart and avoid some bad encounters. Which, yes, I learnt the hard way in a previous attempt at this. Honestly, that is a blessing in disguise, because it quickly taught me what I would need to do for this run. Look up fucking everything. And there is definitely no times where I forgot to look things up that are coming up. Definitely no. None at all. But for the most part, I did look things up. And it meant I could actually prepare for this game, because I think I would still probably be on the second island if I didn't look things up beforehand. There is an early rival fight, but there's nothing much to say about it. My high base power moves carried me here. The main worry I had was not overleveling Char. Which, speaking of, these level caps, whilst I'm editing, in hindsight do seem a bit weird. I don't know if this is standard level caps or not, they seem like to be a level higher than the totem Pokemon coming up. I use the same Google Doc that has the level caps for this that I do for my other runs. It's supplied by Nuz Team Arcade, which is a cute little Discord Nuzlocke competition that I'm in. Great bunch of humans in there, they gave me a lot of important advice for this run. But yeah, if the level caps seem weird, that's just what I was using. I don't know. I don't know this run very well. And there's just the Hella fight to end Melly Island. Hella was pretty easy. As it turns out, flying and fighting is kinda coded for this part of the game. I'm roost spamming here, I don't know why, but after that Home Claws, 3 Aerial Aces solved this for me eventually. I'm done Island 1! Except just kidding, I'm not! Because we also get Taito Kubo here, the Machop. He's quiet, which is a bad nature to have, but oh well. And that's the end of Melly Island. Yay! I didn't say much about Machop, that's just because it's Machop, kind of the archetypal fighting type. It'll be okay. It'll do things, I'm sure. One final thing on Melly Island, actually. We do get the Z Crystal for the flying type, which means we can use Fly EMZ on our Pokemon, specifically Char, which gives it a powerful thing to use. You know, I gotta say, I never thought I would be talking up Hawlucha, famous fraudulent Pokemon, but oh my god, I think it's gonna be really, really good here. Maybe I was wrong about you all along, Hawlucha. Onto Akala Island, and we power through a few pretty easy trainers until we get to a berry tree, with a hungry little friend munching away. I call him Tatsu. I wonder if anyone's figured out the naming theme yet. Anyway, Crabrawler becomes Crabominable eventually, which I believe happens when you level it up at one of the mountains where the Elite Four is, though you can access it before the Elite Four in Ultra Sun, I think, which wasn't like regular Sun. Strong Pokemon, Ice Stab cool, but Ice type bad defensively, pretty frail. Who knows. And it's time to fight How. And I was not expecting this fight with How. How can you tell? Well, I hadn't upgraded my Pokemon thing down the bottom, and I hadn't actually led with a Pokemon that's good into this matchup. Because they have a Dartrix, and I have Tatsu, who is weaker and bad against it, given its part flying. So I go into Char here, just to flip it. Razor Leaf doesn't do that much, and I click Hone Claws. Now, that'll turn out to be a bit of a wasted move, you'll see why pretty soon. There's a Tackle, doesn't do much at all, and I have Roost and Aerial Ace. I can sit in the front of this thing forever. I Aerial Ace, and really, if I was going to Hone Claws once, I should have Hone Claws like 4 or 5 times, because in comes Pikachu, and I'm not sure if Brick Break can take it out, and I don't want to risk it, because I don't know what this thing has. I really should have looked it up, but I refused to. Given it's only level 15 though, I feel pretty confident that Tatsu can take this. The Quick Attack does basically nothing. Maybe you thought I was going to kill then. I'm not 100% sure how the Gen 7 AI works. That's still something that I need to figure out. That was a crit Electro Ball. If we got crit again, we would have been KO'd. That was really stupid of me, and I shouldn't have made such a dumb mistake. But in comes Noibat. Now, Noibat's not a problem, I didn't know that at first. I like desperately looked up its stats and its move pool, that sort of thing, because I was very worried about this Pokemon. Noibat is no problem in the early game. It's a bad Pokemon with bad stats. When it becomes a Noivern, it might be a bit of an issue, but for now it's easy. I just need to figure it out, so I'm stalling. Because, yeah, I think at this point I was looking some stuff up and trying to sort of figure out what the play is and if I was stuffed or not. But you will soon see that I am not when I go into Kishimoto. Kishimoto, I think as some of my other Pokemon as well, are holding the Z Fighting Crystal, which is really good. I only have access to 2 stab types at the moment, Fighting and Flying, and having a Z for both of them is great. We knock out Noibat in 1, and then we're just gonna Z all that pummeling. There's the Baby Doll Eyes, but it's not gonna matter. And we managed to defeat the 4th? I think it's the 4th, technically. It's the 3rd or the 4th. How fight. So, that... which is neat, as we have the cute little animation. And down goes Eevee. Nice and simple. But we are getting to a point in the game where the totems are going to start coming at us pretty quick and pretty fast. And unlike against Gumshoes, we won't have a type advantage against all of them. In fact, some we're going to have a type disadvantage against. Can we do it? Well, there's only one way to find out. Please don't click off this video, please. I may have had an excuse to not update the Pokemon at the bottom before, but I definitely don't now, because I think I knew this Gladion fight was coming up. I think, it's been a while. Yeah, we fight Team Skull Gladion, the Shadow the Hedgehog of Pokemon. That is not a diss, I like Shadow the Hedgehog's design, and I like Gladion's. We lead with Kishimoto against the Zubat, and we lay the smack down. Oh, okay. Maybe I did know this fight was coming up, because I just smacked down to Zorua. Maybe I knew it was coming up and didn't look at the Pokemon. Anyway, now that we've figured that out, Break does get the Zorua, and we can smack down on this Zubat, which does more than half, and it wing attacks me back, and does a fair amount. We almost died, we do live. If that crits, I think we just restart the run. There is a lot of times where that's applicable in these big fights, like a lot of times, so you'll probably hear me say this a lot. You just have to kind of get a bit lucky in this one, like really lucky. Anyway, here's Taito Kubo, and there's a tackle. Now, I should have low swift and then all that pummeling. Then again, I low sweep and all that pummeling might not have killed, so maybe this was the best play. Anyway, I'm gonna Z power. It's gonna do a lot but not kill it, because type Null is really bulky. It's got basically the same stats as Silvally, but it's only got like 50 speed or 59 speed or something like that. So, yeah, it's pretty strong. We go into Tatsu, and Tatsu just needs to get a Brick Break off, even if it gets flinched out or something. Was that Tackle ahead? But I can't remember. I'm looking at it, and I can't remember, and I don't want to go back. Regardless, we had old mate Char in the back, so that was Gladion. Not that difficult, but I suspect he will become rather difficult as time goes on, because that Crobat quad resists my stabs. So, that's fun. Gladion was standing very close to Brooklet Hill, which is the site of the second totem guy thingamabobbo. But before we fight that totem, we need to get a 5th Pokemon on our team, which is going to be Poliwag. Now, Poliwag evolves into Poliwrath, and the rule that I have for Pokemon that evolve into the type that I'm mono running with, but don't start as it, is that I need to evolve them immediately, as quickly as possible. So the second I have access to a Water Stone, and Poliwag is a Poliwhirl, I need to do it immediately. Which may be annoying, but honestly, the best moves that this Pokemon gets is via TMs, and it's going to be a very important Pokemon for us. Ichiro Oda is what we call it. It is bold and it has water absorb. Yay! That's really good. I'm going to use it specially and also defensively anyway, so bold's actually a pretty good nature for it. And I think it's going to be very important very, very soon. But not for this fight. This next totem is rather easy. We train Oda up a little and teach it Water Pulse at the Mantine Surfing Battle Point shop bingo. Which, look, I'm just going to be honest, I am terrible at the Mantine Surfing, but I think I spent half of the game time in this run surfing on those goddamn Mantines. Turns out Battle Point moves are good. There's some other stuff Battle Points can get us later, but once again we'll get to that. Oh, I'm such a tease today. I also go back to Melly Melly Island and do a bit of thievery, taking a few leftovers from Munchlax, which always have them. I only get a few this time and get the rest later, but for most of this run I have 6 leftovers. It's kind of fun how many items Ultra Sun gives you, because I'm used to games that, you know, give you 1 leftovers in the post-game if you're lucky. So this is a refreshing change of pace. It's time for the Water Totem fight. I know I'm skipping a lot, like the trials themselves before the totems, that sort of thing, but we have a lot of ground to cover, so I have to be pretty expedient here. Totem Araquanid is our competition, and if we didn't have Char, this would be pretty difficult, but we do. So what we're going to do is we're going to Hone Claws turn 1 to get an attack boost. I'm not 100% sure anymore if I needed it or not. It was just me being cautious. But it means we can hit really hard with our Supersonic Sky Strike, which is what we do right here against the Araquanid, which is a bug and flying type. We do our little dance while we're shirtless because, you know, I mean, we're swimming, so it makes sense. And fly, tackle, bam, done. And Araquanid is down. There is only Char left, and its bubble is actually going to do a pretty decent amount, I think. Yeah, that's not bad from a Pokemon that doesn't have much special attack. The Rain and I think ability really boosting it. But an Aerial Ace and Dewpider is gone, and that was the Water Totem. And that is, I think, the last of the easy totems that we have. Because the next totem is going to be very difficult. I think now is a good time to tell you about the second ever playthrough, or attempted playthrough, I've had of Ultra Sun. It was for a video for this channel. It was electric in Ultra Sun. I think it was Ultra Moon, actually. Regardless, it was electric in Gen 7, and I had that planned to come out after the Gen 5 Fire-type video. And I got to this god-damned Marowak, which is coming up next, and I lost hard. The win con that was needed to beat that Marowak with an electric team was so disgusting, and then my save file corrupted. I just didn't want to even try. So I stopped, I did poison, and now I'm back here in Gen 7 again. And I have to fight this Alolan Marowak, which is a ghost type. What are we going to do? Well, we do have a water type, which is good. To make things bad, the level cap is 23. And Poliwag evolves into a Poliwhirl at level 25. And Poliwag is not a very good Pokemon. It does not have the damage required to take out this Totem Marowak, which I believe has a nature that is plus special defense, actually. I know all of the totems, or I think most of them, have full EV spreads, typically in just 3 things, but I believe this one is also a careful nature, if I recall correctly, and it does have the thick club as well, so it hits really hard. It is quite a difficult Pokemon for us to deal with, because a lot of my Pokemon can't hit it with their stabs. What do we do? What can I do? There is also a trainer beforehand that you have to fight with no healing opportunities as part of the little trial picture thing, and that is also negative. because that magma, it's not like great or anything, but it's going to chip down whatever we lead. I don't believe Poliwag's water KOs it. Even after I spent a bunch of battle points on getting a bunch of calciums for Poliwag, it's not going to do it. The numbers just aren't there. So how do I do this? And this one took me a couple of tries to figure out. I restarted this game a few times before I got something, and it works, but it's sad. It's time for what might be the hardest fight I have ever done in this challenge. That feels like it's an exaggeration, like in any of my challenges, but I'm really struggling to think of one worse than this. That Marowak has Hit Club, maximum EVs. It gets a +2 to, I don't know, +1 to a bunch of stats. It's tanky, it's bulky, it has the partner Pokemon that I also can't hit very well. It's a lot. It is a lot. I'm just gonna quickly sort of beat everything. So I've led with Kishimoto. That's because Kishimoto can handle Marowak and Magmar together, which is pretty good. You can see their Bone Club from a non-thick club Marowak. Not that bad. But speaking of the totem, Alolan Marowak, it has Detect as well, and I hate whoever gave it Detect, because there were attempts that I made when I was doing this on other attempts where I would have like the Z Water move clicked, and then they just Detect, and it felt like they always knew what I was clicking. I don't know if the AI does cheat like that, but it really did feel like they were cheating. Anyway, in comes Hiker David with his Magmar. If I recall correctly, because again it has been a while, but my Terra Water from Poliwag wouldn't actually take the Magmar here, despite me giving it, I believe, 10 calciums? I have surfed a lot of Mantines. But we beat David and we beat the Marowak, and we don't have that many options, I guess. I am frazzled. But let's see how we go versus the actual Totem Pokemon. We are against Totem Marowak. And it is the... we just have to sack Kishimoto, unfortunately. I don't like doing that. I really don't. Didn't like it. But, I think we had to. So, this Marowak, now I remember, it has +2 speed, so it's going to be faster than everything that we have. So yeah, didn't like it. But now, we can click Knockoff on, Kaito Kubo. But there's the Detect that I was complaining about, and a Torment as well means that I cannot knock off that Hit Club, which is very bad. But I can get some decent chip with Rock Tomb, which will reduce its speed by 1, assuming it hits. Flame Wheel, we live. Thankfully, it only used Poison Gas, not, I think, Flame Burst, which it has. But it's at -1 speed, so that's good. Now we're going to try to knock off the Marowak, hoping that Salazzle does something stupid. It doesn't, it Venoshocks. Done. We're down to two Pokemon, and we haven't made that much progress, but in comes in comes Oda. I just butchered that pronunciation. Torment. That Salazzle does love leading with moves like Torment and Poison Gas, actually, which is something that I noticed, which means I could more focus on the Marowak. So that's good. Here's the Hydro Vortex. Maximum special attack investment, and it didn't die. And the cursed body meant that it lived. So I had to switch out here, because the Salazzle is faster than Oda, and I need him really badly. So I go into Tatsu, and Tatsu is unfortunately a sack. That is 3 Pokemon so far that loses to this, and that is genuinely, I think, the best I could do. Because, well, I win. There's a Detect with the Aerial Ace, but that's fine, because if you look at the moveset, there is a move that this gets by level up that I taught it. Encore. Encore forces Pokemon to use the same move over and over and over and over. So now, only that Salazzle can actually do anything to us. So we Aerial Ace the Salazzle because it's going to Detect, and then we get poisoned with Poison Gas, which is fine. So I want to Encore the Salazzle, but in hindsight I actually should have just Aerial Aced. It's fine, but now I have both of these Pokemon trapped in an Encore loop. So Salazzle can't hit me because it can only use Poison Gas, and Marowak I take out with Aerial Ace. So it's done. There is only Salazzle left. Now, the problem is, I am disabled with my one attacking move because I need Feather Dance really badly, and I need Roost really badly. But that Salazzle only has Poison Gas that I can use because I can keep encoring it, so I'm just going to spam Roost until I get undisabled, and I do it. I won. That took, I think the number was 4 or 5 attempts to get up to. And if I couldn't, I was very close to quitting as well. But I managed to get through here, which was pretty good. Yeah. It's all over, but the crying, so I'm just going to talk about how difficult this fight was. The crazy thing is, I don't think this is actually the hardest totem fight we have coming up. Like, it's taken out 3 of our Pokemon. We are weak. We are not doing well. I pulled out all the stops. I leveled up really high on Char, like really close to the level up on Char. And yeah, I could just barely win. But we did win. So that is honestly the best thing. But with only Oda and Char, there's not much I can do, right? Right? Well, thankfully, we're going to get a very wonderful and important Pokemon. I'm going to ask a question. Who loves QR codes? Because let me tell you right now, I love QR codes. I adore QR codes. And you'll see why right now. We use the island scan to scan a bunch of QR codes in order to get Combusken, which we do catch and we name Fujimoto. Combusken's nature is lonely, plus attack minus defense, which is really good, because extra attack is just good. Combusken becomes Blaziken, it's a starter, ability Blaze, it's strong. A lot of attack, a lot of special attack, means we've got some mixed options here, that's cool. And a secondary unique stab option is also very good. Of the 3 Pokemon we have, they all have another stab type. That's great. And it's going to be especially important because the next totem we face is a grass type totem. So with Combusken plus Char, I think we've got this personally. Whilst we're grinding and preparing for the next totem fight, we get our first evolution of the entire video. It feels like it took a while actually, with Oda becoming a Poliwhirl, just a nice generic little power upgrade for our water type. As it turns out, we did not have Poliwhirl for long, because I found a water stone almost immediately after, so Oda becomes a Poliwrath, which is a very good Pokemon for this part of the game. It's time for the trial before the grass type totem, and I have to get a lot of berries, like a lot of berries.
107's bad, I gotta eat more berries.
Stop eating berries! You've had enough berries!
After a couple of uninvited guests try to ruin our picnic, we get what we're actually supposed to be fighting with the Putum Lurantis. Did it say snip, snip? I hope it said snip, snip. It also has +2 speed, so we have Fujimoto out at lead, and we're just going to Flame Charge. X-Scissor does very little because it is quad resisted. I do think that might be its best move because it only has Solar Blade. In comes the Comfey. Comfey can be a little annoying, but I think if we just Z Inferno the Lurantis, it should be taken out. It absorbs light, and then there's the Power Herb. I forgot it had that Power Herb. Although again, whilst it does a fair bit, it doesn't do that much, and it's actually really nice that it has that +2 speed, because that it activated after the Sunny Day, so it still used up the Power Herb. Again, doesn't really matter. Sunny Day, Z-move, Inferno Overdrive, Lurantis. It is going down, baby. And boom, and that Comfey. I don't think it has any fairy moves. I think it's only got Magical Leaf and a Flower Shield. So it's quite easy to just clean up with 2 Flame Charges or a Fire Punch if I'm feeling spicy, which apparently I am. That is a pretty sick Fire Punch animation from Fujimoto. And it's done. Cool. Well, that was actually... It was easier than the first 2, but that was a pretty easy trial. So, sandwiched in between the 2 easiest fights was one of the hardest fights of my life. That's a fun little spread. But will the upcoming fights prove to be easy or more difficult? Now that we've cleared out that totem, we can catch our next Pokemon, which is a Pissimian, which we do get, and we call it Takano Uchi, I believe is how you pronounce their name. Pissimian is an okay Pokemon in general. This one has a lax nature, and its ability is Receiver, which is kind of useless, I think. I just realized I haven't really opined or spoken about the actual quality of Pokemon that is available like I usually do. I think part of that's just because there is so much content in Gen 7 that I don't want to make the video too long, but I think it'll be remiss of me not to talk about it. The actual Pokemon available to us that are fighting types in Gen 7, there's a lot of them. We've already lost 3 Pokemon, we've got 4 in our team, and we're going to get another one on this island. I think the total number of fighting types available to us, excluding all of the double-ups, it's over 10 for sure. I have just counted, it's 14. There are 14 possible encounters for us to get. The unfortunate problem, though, is that a lot of fighting types are very similar. Some are a bit faster, some are a bit bulkier, but they all have the same general theme. High attack, okay bulk, middling type matchups, and the same sort of coverage. So, it's actually pretty decent coverage, but a lot of Pokemon get, like, all the punches, get Poison Jab, they get the same sort of moves, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing if we have a bad matchup and it's looking pretty dicey. It's a good thing if we need to have, like, Pokemon that can specialize in certain roles. The thing that we don't have access to is high special attack stats, though. Blaziken does have a high special attack stat, but its move pool, especially level up, is very much physically orientated. It gets bulk up, not calm mind, for example. It learns a bunch of physical moves just by level up. So that is going to be, I think, a big problem if we need some special offense. Finding it's going to be somewhat difficult. The other positive, though, is that there are a lot of dual types. You can see right here, we have 3 dual types on our team at the moment. It's pretty good. And our next Pokemon is also going to be a dual type. These dual types give us unique resistances, and immunities, and type coverage, which is all pretty amazing. Speaking of dual type Pokemon with a unique damage immunity, we go to the Akala outskirts to get our next Pokemon, Stuffle. I really hope the one we catch is Fluffy, because its other ability is Klutz. Fluffy effectively doubles its defense against all contact moves, which is most of them. Well, most of the physical ones anyway. And Klutz means you can't use items. I cannot think of a Pokemon that has a bigger gap in quality between ability A and ability B than Stuffle/Beware. Because with Fluffy, it's probably our best Pokemon, and with Klutz, it might be our worst. If there is another Pokemon that has such a big quality gap between abilities, and we're not counting hidden abilities here, because those are a bit more competitively designed typically. Ignore hidden abilities. Is there a Pokemon that has two abilities, but one's like so much better than the other to the point of Klutz versus Fluffy on Beware? Comment down below, genuinely, because I can't think of one. Engagement farm, engagement farm, engagement farm. Anyway, unfortunately, our Stuffle is Klutz. Its nature is serious, which is neutral stats, and we call it Tezuka. It is a shame that it is Klutz, and unfortunately there is absolutely no way we can change that at all. Foreshadowing, foreshadowing, foreshadowing. At this point I genuinely didn't know you could change the ability, but yeah, strong hints for what's coming up. After staring at Fisherman Vernon's gorgeous, sexy eyes for a few minutes, genuinely I have a 3-minute video of just this. I don't know why, I just needed to show that. After staring in his eyes, we level up Tezuka enough so that it evolves into Beware, which is a nice, juicy power upgrade on Stuffle. So, you know how I said I wouldn't let anything surprise me and look things up? Well, I lied. That's right. Your 13th favorite content creator lied to you all. How do you feel? I had no idea this Palmerina? I don't actually know how to pronounce it. Was before Olivia. So I've stumbled into this blind. Thankfully, Takuchi has Rock Tomb, so we can hit it once through a confusion and hit it twice through a confusion. That's nice. That Golbat could have been a big issue if I had different Pokemon out ahead. But looking at our team, we are confused, so I'm a bit worried about that Salandit. Maybe he can do something. But then I realized, oh yeah, it's a Salandit and I Bulldoze. I do like that I have both Bulldoze and Rock Tomb on this set. I just hate the opponent having speed. I hate it. I hate it. And Palmeria is down. So all we have left is the Island Kahuna. I believe that's her title. Yeah. Now it's time to fight Olivia and her adorable rock types. Yeah, what can I say about Olivia? Great design. That's great design. I shouldn't say that stuff. That is really cringe. Rock Tomb on the Anorith, because it will do the most damage and it'll lower its speed, so then Brick Break. Bayum, Takechi has got this. Lileep leads, and we Brick Break. It will 2-hit KO unless that Giga Drain heals enough to get it back. It doesn't, so a second Brick Break, and it's gone. That's cool. And then in comes the last Pokemon, Lycanroc. Now, Lycanroc has the Z Rock Crystal, which is a bit scary. So we're going to switch out to Oda, who can take a lot of hits and has the leftovers. So how little it does from Bite, that's like 6 HP after leftovers. 6 HP a turn, we can take that. There's one flinch, but that's fine. Bubble Beam again. There's a second flinch. That's a bit more annoying. It's starting to chip us down. It better not be a third flinch. It's not, thankfully. We Bubble Beam, and then hopefully it doesn't flinch 3 times out of 4 against us. There's another bite, and no, this isn't Jirachi clicking Iron Head. It doesn't have that dog in him. It is in fact just a dog itself. And the second Bubble Beam takes, and that is the Kahuna of Akola. Akala? Akula. I'd love an Akola right now. I would love Akola right now. But it's Akala, and we've done it. I'm probably butchering so many of these pronunciations. I don't apologize at all. Fuck you. We are 2 islands down, and we're about, what, just under 40 minutes? That's fun. Let's see what the next two bring. Time for either the 4th or the 5th How fight on Ula Ula Island. And, oh my god, this is a difficult one. You wanna know how difficult it is? This is the second attempt. I lost to it and had to redo this whole run again. Yeah. It is difficult. And the difficult thing is not Dartrix. Dartrix we Inferno Overdrive and we get rid of. But it's the Pokemon that's going to come out after Dartrix. Which is Alolan Raichu. It has Psychic, and I believe Max Speed and Max Special Attack EVs. Bulk Up, I'm going to teach it over Rock Tomb. But yeah, that is a lot. That is a lot for this team to handle. And we don't have any neutralities to Psychic or immunities yet. We actually get one right after this match. It's really unfortunate. So what I've done is I'm going to go to my Pokemon and you're going to see that Beware is level 32. I have fed that thing so many vitamins so that it survives. And I need to make a sacrifice, by the way, to bring it in safely. So Takuchi comes in, and it's very sad, but it's effectively taking a bullet for the team by Takuchi. That's the 4th Pokemon I've lost so far, which is pretty intense. I just realized I have a death counter there. I should probably have used it for this whole thing. I don't even remember my run. I don't even remember what my overlay does. Anyway, you can see we survived that Psychic with 11 HP. That is a pretty high roll. It 100% lives it as long as it doesn't crit. If it critted, we just had to start again. But that's how we had to do it. We had to live and then pay back 100 base power. Got it, because it doesn't have much defense. So that's good. But there's still 3 Pokemon left, though they aren't nearly as big of an issue. So, especially Noibat. Noibat is bad. Even though it's bad, it does that much to Fuchimoto. Oh my god. That's how you can tell I did not know what I was doing here. Because I got past that and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't plan for anything, huh. But it's fine. We miss one Hypnosis, but we're eventually going to hit a Hypnosis. But yeah, I had to, like, as you can see, it's level 32. I surfed on main twins a bunch, fed it a bunch of vitamins. I've really had to make that thing specially bulky to survive that Psychic. And as I said, we're about to get a Dark type, which does make the placement of this really awkward. But this is it. After this point is all Uncharted Waters. After this fight, which, spoiler warning, we're going to win, I think you probably have broken the promise you made about not looking at progress bar. You can see there's a lot of videos still to go. I don't know what's coming up next. I don't. Well, I do, but I don't know how I'm going to do it. I have no experience in it. It's all Uncharted Waters, and I don't want to have to fucking do all this again. So, this run is it. Whatever I get up to at this point, I'm fucking done with it. Okay? So, that's some stakes. That's the stakes. They're juicy and they're tasty. Here, we get the Hone Claws up to be at +1, then we're back at neutral, and we can just restore this Tauros a little bit. We are going to win, which is good. Coming up, I guess the fights that I'm worried about is the Ghost Totem Mimikyu, which is a Fairy type. That is the big worry, and that is not too far away. But I think besides that, you know, smooth sailing. I really do wish I remembered that. Like, I literally only just remembered now that there's the death count and the reset count there. That would have been nice to actually use. I'm not a talented YouTuber yet. But there's only Vaporeon left. For Vaporeon, we can go into Odor and just chip away at it with Brick Break. And, yep, it can't really hit us. That is something that maintains for that Vaporeon regardless of its moveset. It cannot hit Odor, which is why Odor is so important, because it actually hits the rest of our team pretty well. but quick attack not doing anything. Oh my god, it's just the fact that I do like that the NPCs have a lot of you, and I do want to say I do really like this game. Well, I like this run through. Okay. Oh, okay. That's an edit. That's a recording error. Ugh. Oh well. It's fine. Yeah, I do really like this run through. I don't want to sound negative. It's just very stressful. A bit tedious. But on to new, unexplored, unknown, uncharted adventures for this team and this run. How exciting. When one ally falls, another comes to take its place. This time, it's Pancham. Actually, it's Pangoro, because the Pancham cried and a Pangoro came. I don't know if that's, like, frowned upon for Gen 7 Nuzlocks, like, using SOS encounters, but I'm just gonna use Pangoro, because I didn't farm for it or anything, it just kind of happened. That's good. It means I get a Pangoro earlier. Cool. Pangoro is a dark type pocket monster, which, yeah, that gives us immunity to Psychic. Would have been amazing last battle, but that's okay. This Pangoro we name Araki, and it has the ability Iron Fist and a timid nature. Great nature, and a decent enough ability. I don't know how many punching moves I'm going to teach it, but I've seen worse. But have I told you what my absolute favourite thing in the world is? I definitely have. I've definitely told you all. It's QR codes, baby! And I have an extra special gift from QR codes again. That's right. I have Monferno. The second of 3 firefightings that exist, and the second of 2 fighting types I can get via the island scan. It is also a fire and fighting type, so there's some overlap with Combusken/Blaziken there, but Monferno is going to become Infernape, which is really good. 108 speed, good attack, good special attack. It's going to be an anchor here. Like, we run out of Pokemon really quickly, so having redundancy in sacks is actually going to be really important, I think. We name this Monferno Toriyama, and it has the naughty nature, so plus attack minus special defense, which is also good, and it mirrors Combusken, weirdly. That's cool. We are finally at a full team. Over halfway through the game. That's how many Pokemon we've lost. Like, we're at 4 deaths now? It's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy how much we've had to churn through the early game, but it was worth it. We're here, and I think we've got a pretty good squad as it is. It's time for the Togedemaru fight. Before it, we solved a bunch of puzzles, fought some pretty easy Pokemon, and Togedemaru springs to life. It's got +2 defense, and we're going to bulldoze as it bounce, bounce, Mac Daddy will make you bounce, bounce, Togedemaru will make you bounce. We're doing it at +2 speed. You'll see why soon. But what this calls for is a very slow strategy. So we're going to start bulldozing. We get Charm, so we're doing like nothing to Togedemaru. That keeps clicking bounce because it knows it's super effective. But I click protect and I have leftovers. So you can kind of see the play here. I'm just trying to make Togedemaru slow. I'm trying to waste its time. I'm trying to just get through the Dean and through Skarmory. That bulldoze crit just then, by the way, was huge with the Dean's now gone. Citrus sucks, but it's whatever. When it's just Togedemaru versus Araki, I can just sit in front of it forever. I can waste all of its bounces, which actually really limits its ability to damage me. I think it does have like Iron Head or something. It might have an electric move. I can't remember. It's been a while. I'm still slowing it down so that it's actually slower than me still in Tailwind, which is important because that means I can continue to chip it, and also my other Pokemon can then be made faster than it. So the Skarmory Stealth Rock, but Stealth Rocks is fine. Spiky Shield, Steel Wing, yeah, it's whatever. Skarmory is annoying, but again, I am now doing a lot of damage to it, and because I have made the Togedemaru so slow, it doesn't matter if Tailwind's there. There's the Protect, blocks it. Spiky Shield is realistically at this point delaying the inevitable, as I can't use 2 moves in a row because of shit. I'm just gonna break. They Spiky Shielded, they're not gonna go for it again, and it's done. So all that's left is I can get rid of Protect. I don't need it, and it's a TM anyway. All that's left is Skarmory, and well, he's at +1 defense. Oda has Bubble Beam, and it can probably 3 a KO. All Skarmory can do is Steel Wing, and that's the Steel type totem. It actually wasn't as free or as easy as you might think it'd be, because Bounce is strong. They give these totems pretty good movesets. They really do. But it's done. That's good. Now the big problem, as I've said, is the next one. The next trial is the Totem Mimikyu. I don't know how I am going to beat it, because it is a fairy and ghost type with a fairy move. I'll talk about it in a bit more detail later, because I have one more fight before then. It's time to fight your boy, my boy, let's be honest, everyone's boy, Uzma of Team Skull. Yeah. This fight is kinda simple if you've got a good plan. It is actually a bit threatening, because Masquerade's Air Slash is really strong. But if you Hone Claws against the Gliscopod and don't get crit by Razor Shell, because if you get crit by Razor Shell, say it with me, you restart the run. But we Z-Fly, do our dance, and that is going to take out Gliscopod. And the reason we Hone Clawsed was because of the Intimidate, so that way we're going to be at neutral against it, and we can OHKO it with Rock Tomb, which is pretty good. I'm going to use this fight to just sort of talk a bit about the Sun and Moon story, because I don't have time to talk about the story outside of the fights, so I'm going to use it in the simple fights. I really like Team Skull. I think it's a really good direction for the series. I'm really glad that they did it. After just like generation after generation of like, oh, here's a bad team, and they're getting more and more ridiculous in their goals, like Team Flare, for example, it was really important for them to sort of dial it back and make Team Skull just a bunch of like numbskull idiots that like just kind of cause trouble. I like it. I like it a lot. It really does contrast against the actually evil team in this one, the Aether Foundation. That's cool. That's honestly one of my favorite parts of Gen 7. This was great. Team Skull is great. But let's not talk about the good stuff, because we've got to talk about the pressing matters. I am going to talk about the upcoming Mimikyu fight for a while, whilst we watch Blaziken and Infernape evolve, and me dreading some sick board on a Mantine. Because I didn't know what to do. For a long time at this fight, this was asses to ankles, you know, we're in the fire, look out, bandit all hope, ye sort of position. This Mimikyu has the Omni Boost, +1 to all stats, has a plus defense nature, has unnerfed disguise, so it doesn't take any damage when you break the disguise, and has a Lumberry. So I couldn't see a way around this. Like, I wanted to use like Thief with Infernape and then Will-O-Wisp, but that didn't work because Infernape can't get Thief yet. I didn't know that until I'd already kind of decided on that plan. There are other ones. I think there was like a sort of like some sort of trying to be really bulky on Char, and there was so many plans, and none of them worked. None of them looked good. None of them had the source that I needed, and I was honestly ready to abandon this record because it was just, well, I've tried so hard, but there's just brick walls, and there's brick walls coming up. At least I thought so at the time, and I didn't know what to do. But then, someone very cool and very handsome gave me some advice. Do you remember my foreshadowing earlier where I talked about Fluffy? Of course you remember. You're a smart viewer. That's why I like you so much. That's why you're my favorite special boy. Or girl. Or whatever gender identity you prefer to identify as. You're my favorite special viewer on the whole internet. Because you can get the ability capsule. You're seeing me shred some mad fucking board on the Mantine, and there's a reason for it. I am getting 100 battle points, or beach points, or whatever they're called. So I can get an ability capsule, which changes the ability to make me wear Fluffy. With Fluffy, it is effectively taking neutral damage from Play Rough. And now, I've got a fucking chance. I can fucking do this. I am ready to shadow box with God. But, who's gonna win the shadow box contest? God, aka Mimikyu. +1 in all of its stats. Lumberry. Got a friend to join it. Or a poor, humble, martial art fighting merchant. Let's see how it all fucking goes. I am ready for this shit. It's time. We have thought about it for literally days. But it's time for Totem Mimikyu. I should also say, by the way, partner Pokemon, I have to get Banette here or else I just lose on the spot. So, that's nice. I don't know if it's determined, like how it's determined which partner it summons, but if it's Jellicent, we lose. We're gonna look for the Mimikyu. Basically, to give you the plan, you'll see it, I'm sending out Infernape. Why am I sending out Infernape? Because it has Bulldoze. Now, Bulldoze will break the disguise and will still lower the speed. And I have given Infernape a lot of bulk, so it will be able to live 2 Play Roughs nice and easily. This is probably gonna cost me Infernape, which is really, really, really bad. The attack lower is whatever. I don't think it really matters. Losing Infernape is so bad here. I don't want to lose it. But unfortunately, this is the best, most consistent way of doing this. So at this point here, I can protect, but if Banette curses, bad, right? So I just Bulldoze, hoping that Banette screeches or does some Will-O-Wisp or something. And it screeches, which is amazing. I really didn't expect it to screech here. I really didn't. I expected it to curse or just feint attack. That means I might not have to lose Infernape, and at this point I have to decide, do I want to keep Infernape or Araki? It may seem like I should keep another Dark Fighting, but I do get another one right after this fight, so it might be worth it. And I think I make the decision of getting rid of Araki, and I think that is a good one, because Infernape is better than Pangoro, it just is. Even though Dark Fighting may seem like a more useful type in general. Yeah. If I could have led Blaziken, I would have. I probably would have sacked it, but unfortunately, as Araki goes down, that's very sad. Blaziken just isn't fast enough for Mimikyu, and I don't think it can take 2 Play Roughs with its minus defense, which is really sad. But in comes Beware. Beware, as if you recall, has Fluffy, so it can actually take a +1 Play Rough reasonably, and it's faster now, so it can corkscrew Crash, avoiding any risk of it getting its stats lowered by a Play Rough or anything like that. There's a Play Rough, and there's a Will-O-Wisp from Banette. Probably the worst thing it could click there, which isn't great. So now I'm at this awkward spot, where I do want to save Tezuka. I can probably Iron Head, But for some reason, I don't, and I don't know why. I think I forgot that Bennett was at -1 speed or something, or that Mimikyu was slower. I don't know. I really, in hindsight, should have Ironheaded, but I don't. I protect. The theory behind that was because I just wanted to potentially fish Bennett for curses, which I play rough blocked. Curse does happen. So I was right about that, but I could have and should have just Ironheaded. Unless Ironhead didn't kill while I was burnt from that range. Maybe it didn't. Maybe I'm smarter than I think. But anyway, I bring in Fujimoto here because it will take play rough and then we'll outspeed. And Fujimoto, I don't want to lose it, but I'm okay with losing it. Play rough, feint attack, it's on 11 HP. So I've lost Fujimoto here. I just have. Except I actually haven't. Because you will see. Because feint attack does not kill Fujimoto. Right? I am faster than Mimikyu, I can fire punch and it's down. So what is the one thing that Bennett can do here? It can curse. And thankfully, due to turn sequencing, the game ends before I take the curse damage, meaning I get out of here with only one Pokemon lost. Oh, that was close. The only reason that this was possible without losing most of my team was because of that fluffy Beware. I think without it, I would have been up a creek without a paddle. I really would have. But I'm so glad I managed to do it, only losing one Pokemon, Pangoro. This is... See, I'd say it's harder than the Totem Marowak because it took me longer to figure out how to do it, but I did technically do it on my first try, so maybe it was easier. Regardless, this is one of the really hard totems, and I'm glad we got out of it how we did. Pulmeria again goes pretty easily. A Tezuka lead with Fluffy means it can handle that Crobat, and then for Salazzle I have Bulldoze on Poliwrath so it can take it out. If I got crit with Sludge Bomb I just lost. Fun times. You're gonna hear that a lot, but I didn't, so that's nice. And we move on with our lives. As we head on to Route 16, we find another Pokemon to fill up our team. It is a replacement Dark and Fighting type, Scraggy, which is pretty soon going to become a Scrafty. We name this one Togashi, and it's going to basically replace Tezuka. It's got Shed Skin as its ability. I think the other one is Moxie. Shed Skin's fine. Maybe Moxie's better, but that's pretty debatable. It's a hardy nature, so neutral stat gains. And that's going to be our Psychic check from now on. Now, I can't lose this Pokemon. That's what that means. I just cannot lose it. So, I'm going to wrap this thing in cellophane and never let it take any damage after I just threw away Tezuka. Poor Tezuka. You deserved better. We evolve Scraggy into Scrafty. And then we head into Potown, which is a cute little area. And we have to fight Guzma again. We have to. I mean, we want to. He's your boy. He's my boy. He's everyone's boy. Everyone's boy Guzma leads out with the Golisopod, and we have Char at lead. Move that you're going to be seeing a lot of, which you've already seen a bit of, is Feather Dance. Feather Dance is good. I have unfortunately had to get rid of Encore, by the way. But why are we Feather Dancing? Well, we're trying to set up something which was probably not actually the best way of going about this fight, but you know, I'm sure it'll be fine. Plan was to Feather Dance like twice and then get a bunch of workups, but I kept losing defense on these goddamn Razor Shells, so I had to pivot. The reason we need setup is once again Masquerain. It is quite a strong Pokemon. Its air slashes are very deadly. Like, see, that's like 4 or 5 defense drops. It's crazy. Look at how much it's doing after a roost. At minimum attack. Yeah, it's not like Razor Shell's a particularly strong move, and if it crits, I'm stuffed. I think it's got a high crit rate as well. So, I don't know why I'm roost. I'm really risking things here. You can tell this is not run that I knew what I was doing for most of it. But yeah, after all those defense drops, it's just I must just be being really stubborn. I must just be being really stubborn. Because God, well, hopefully I break the rest leap eventually, or the roost leap eventually. Because yeah, I did want to work up. I have work up over home claws because I think I had to get rid of some stuff. I do eventually realize that I can achieve similar things with Blaziken here. So I raise the water absorbs the Razor Shell, and Glisspot only has Sucker Punch to hit Poliwrath. So I can then go into Blaziken and bulk up and flame charge. What? I think I bulk up. I have to bulk up twice or 3 times. We'll see pretty soon. Bulk up's gonna mean that it'll take less damage from Razor Shell, which is already at minus. It's at -6. Just how frail Blaziken is and how strong Glisspot is. Like at -6 with +1, but after 2 bulk ups and no drains or anything, we can flame charge. There's a Sucker Punch, but that doesn't do much. But they added Razor Shells. Maybe they're out of Razor Shells. I should have just stalled its PP with Poliwrath, honestly. But with Flame Charge, make sure that I'm faster than Masquerain. So it comes in, there's the Intimidate, but I'm at +2, now at +1. So my Fire Punch will still be able to take it out. And Blaziken can sweep the rest of this team. That seemed a bit intense, but I did actually need to have some setup going in order to beat the Masquerain, because that is how much of a problem. Oh god, I got Storm Thrown. That was scary. That was scary. That's how much a strong, or even just reasonably strong, flying type is against this team. I'm not going to have any counterplay to this until I get the Cobra Berry, but that's not until Pony. So let's fair bit away. But we get Guzma, nice and fun, and we're almost done with Melly Melly Island. Wait, no. Melly Melly Island's Island 2. Ulala Island. I think there's very little left. Feels like it went quickly, but I'm an hour and 10 minutes, I think, into a video that's probably going to be lucky to be under 2. So, what is fucking time at this point? Like the dating history of someone from Tasmania, it's all relative, baby. We fight Gladion again at the plot twist point, where you find out that Gladion and Lily are siblings, and that the 8th Paradise is evil, and all that stuff. I do like that plot. I think when I first played, like, Pokemon Sun, I was a very, very much younger kid. Had slightly more self-respect and dignity than I do now. Just slightly. I wasn't vibing with Gen 7, and then this happened, and I sort of... this island was the turning point. The fight with Gladion's not too difficult, at least at first. Ironhead, the Golbat, he can handle it. Then in comes Type Null, but just kidding, because it's going to Hyper Voice, because Zoroark, I've never been able to remember it exists. It's just the Pokemon that I'm elementally weak into. I can't remember that Zoroark exists. And that actually puts me in a bit of a problem. Type Null's going to kick my ass for a bit, but I'll eventually pivot around it a little bit. So yeah, I think it's a good plot twist. It's honestly my favourite part of the game. I'm not showing too much of the in-betweeny fight stuff because, like, look at how long this video's taken. And damn, that is a strong Crush Claw. So I'm only showing the fights, and I'm using the fights that are a bit more basic to opine on Gen 7 as a whole. I might have said that already. Oh, wow. I think I was almost die here from that minus defense Crush Claw. I'm getting a lot of defense drops from these moves. I don't, I'm I'm avoiding the crits, which is nice, but I'm getting a lot of defense drops. So hopefully with this hypnosis, Togashi can come in and it can brick break this type null. Just kidding, it wakes up in Crush Claws. And does... I got a defense drop there. I think I might have lost. I might have had to sack a Pokemon to type fucking null. There's Brick Break. Takes it down to half. But it's faster than Scraggy, so I need to go into Toriyama and take a Crush Claw. That defense training that I used for the Mimikyu fight coming in handy. Like, it wouldn't even 2-hit KO, that's crazy. It took it better than Scraggy did. And close combat, it's down. That was way harder than it thought it would be. But yeah, it's a fun part of this game. Honestly, my favorite bit. But I think before we tackle it, we have my spirit animal Nanu coming up. Nanu might be my spirit animal, but he's not going to be particularly difficult for a fighting type team, given he's a dark type trainer. We lead Togashi against Sableye because it can kind of solve most of his Pokemon. What is Shadow Ball doing to it? Literally nothing. So we're just going to crunch the Sableye 3 times and it will go down. We do lose some special defense, which is a bit annoying. There's the Hyper Potion, but... So it's actually going to be 4 crunches because of that defense drop. Pretty cool. Crunch, done. And then they bring in the Krokorok. Now, Krokorok is slightly more annoying. It also intimidates. We do want to get that off, so I decided to switch in. I better not fucking switch in Toriyama or Fujimoto here. I better fucking not. Why am I looking at them so much? I go into Beware, and this is me making a mistake because I forgot Fluffy is contact moves, and Earthquake's not a contact move. So I Brick Break to get rid of it, but Swagger, and I hit myself in Confusion. Just whatever. Then go into Char, though. I wish I still could have had Encore, but there's no way I could fit Encore with what this Pokemon needs. Feather Dance to lower Krokorok's attack as it increases mine. You know, it lowers it by 2. It increases mine by 2. You know, that's capitalism. That's capitalism. Braviary. I kept making that mistake actually when I was putting it in King Locale. But Hawlucha takes that with 1 Aerial Ace, and Togashi is just going to chip away at Persian. Look at how little Power Gem's doing, and that's the best move into it since it Quad Resists the Dark. It's not even going to click the Dark Z move that it has, because there's literally no point. Which is, I believe, Dark Pulse. But that's Nanu done. Nice and easy, and now we can get onto the Aether Paradise, and after that, it's the 4th island. It's time for the 3rd and final ya boy Guzma fight. And it's a very similar team, just now it has a Vikavolt. So, unfortunately for you all, it's going to be the same strategy of feather dancing in front of this Glycopod, hoping it doesn't lower our defense. Plan is genuinely to use Blaziken here. You know what? Char, mostly because of Vikavolt. I do actually do something smart here, though. Right? You can see I get, 1 defense drop down, and I actually, realize, oh yeah, this move can crit. I think it has an increased crit rate. I might have said that already. Water Absorb. Bam! So now I bring it back in, but I have reset, and also it has to Sucker Punch because it can't hit Poliwrath any other way. But now I've reset the defense drops because I'm actually smart. Back into Oda again, and now we're going to at least attempt to put it to sleep. It has to Sucker Punch, which is actually really good for us because it gives us... Like, that doesn't count as a sleep turn, when usually it would. Fujimoto is in now, though, and we are going to bulk up twice. That's the first one, and that's the second one. In hindsight, I honestly should have done 3, because you'll see how much Flame Charge here does. And I think a 3rd one might have put it at half, so it had to merge the exit. It's actually marginal. It's marginal. But the emergency exit triggers Masquerain, Intimidate, but we're still at +1. We can just Fire Punch. It's down. Pinsir's gonna come in. We didn't kill it last time. Oh no, Gold Spot comes in. Just Fire Punch. We don't need to be at +3 speed. We're at 48. That's pretty cool. Pinsir's going to come in. One more Fire Punch. Gone. And then Vikavolt is also down to a Fire Punch. So, that's the plan. Worked last time. It's working this time. It's time for the one Lucamine fight in this whole game. Which is kind of crazy given she's the main antagonist. It's Elite Clefable, we lead Tezuka, and we want absolutely fucking nothing to do with that Clefable. Like, nothing at all. So we just get it off the table. I don't want to face a fairy type, I just don't. But in comes her Beware, which is a big problem. I should probably Beware and Beware action, but instead I go into Tagashi for Zen Headbutt. Smart move by me, but Brick Break does nothing, and that's how much Takedown does, which is pretty scary. So we go into Char. Dual Chop, I don't know why I Dual Chop there. Maybe it was to avoid some, what do you call it? Recoil? That's possible. Zen Headbutt, we miss it thankfully, but it wouldn't have killed after that Feather Dance. We Feather Dance again, and we're going to, I think, Feather Dance again. I told you you'll see a lot of Feather Dance, like, you know, we love to dance here. We love to dance in a little. Gonna Roost up just in case like this Pokemon's needed for the rest of the Pokemon. I don't think it will be though. Here comes Fujimoto, and yeah, we're doing it again. We're doing it again. But there's a reason. There's a reason this time. That's because I don't know how we take out the Pokemon that's going to come out next, which is Melodic. We have big issues with actually doing decent damage into strong water types, especially when half, like, a third of our team is a fire type. So we have to bulk up 3 times, because that's going to allow us to Brick Break Melodic. We also just needed to not get crit, which we're lucky we didn't. If we did with one of these Zens, I think we just lost. So that's nice. Flame Charge, we're at +2, we only need to be at +1, I think, for the Melodic. I think, I'm not sure. But the Brick Break, we know for sure the Brick Break will KO. This is me double checking the numbers. They were right. Melodic's down. Fujimoto's at level 49. And it can sweep through the rest of this team because there is the normal type Lopunny, and then there is the Lilligant right after. So that's easy, we beat her. It's a bit rude that despite beating her, she still decides to, you know, jump into the other dimension for whatever ridiculous reason she has. I can't quite remember them. I think she's just, like, insane and wants to help Pokemon and stop Necrozma or something. But because we're the protagonists, we're gonna have to be nice and get them out of there. And the best way to get them out of there is to go to the Pony Wilds. It is long overdue, but it is time for the return of Keith Sings the Hits. And by hits, I mean the soundtrack in Sonic Adventure 2. Let's hit it. Keithums, and I'm back. I've been away for a while, but I'm back to kick some butt at Pony Canyon. I shall find all the lost pieces of the Z crystals here. Gotta get those fools. They want to play with my wormhole? They're playing with the wrong guy. Like I don't know. That's what I'm representing. Never seen a dragon type spit like a menace. Pony Canyon fun. I gotta chase a weasel, huh? Yeah, it's Maya. She's calm and regenerating. A double-crossed spy feet that dives me Jingmo, huh? I'm feeling her in mysterious ways. That's why I stay on point like every single day. I gotta fight Komodo. I do it for my race. Yeah, you know what it is. Yo! Ugh. Throw your Pokeballs! Come on! It was either the best thing I've ever done for this channel, or the worst thing I've ever done for this channel. I don't know which is which. You tell me in the comment section down below. Engagement farm, engagement farm, engagement farm. As I very poorly explained, we have to fight the Komodo, the totem Komodo, and as I approach the Z crystal pedestal and it jumps down, I'm going to explain my thought processes in general. So I am going to, I'll give you the heads up because there's a lot of me umming and ahhing in this one. I'm going to Z, like I lead Hulucha, I Z fly Komodo to basically nuke it. That high attack stat with the plus attack nature and a lot of EVs at this point. Really, after if I got crit there, I just lost. Again, you hear that a lot. And why did I do this? Well, my first plan was actually Citrus Berry and a bunch of, what do you call it, feather dancers with Lucha. But the problem is, the other Pokemon, because you can see it summon Sizzle here, the other Pokemon Komodo can summon is Noivern. And Noivern is faster than everything I have and has Air Slash, and I just lose. I could get a bunch of Cobra Berries, but that then makes the plan really awkward. So I wanted something way more consistent. Now, I thought of it, like I tried a whole bunch of stuff and I just didn't know. Like I had no idea. I looked it up constantly, but then I asked that Nuz Team Arcade, the people that I have the level caps for, I just asked in that server if anyone had any ideas, and I was told that Komodo will summon Sizzle if it's at less than 50% health. I don't know if that's actually true, because I googled it, I couldn't find any information on it. But I had no reason not to trust them. I went for it, and whether it's coincidence or it's true, it succeeded. Which is very good here. Now, at this point I'm debating what I want to bring in. I could bring in Isamaya, just let it get, like, killed, and then bring in someone that can just finish off Sizzle and Komodo. But I don't want to do that because I actually might need Isamaya for later. So I'm going to try to avoid it, and I reckon I can probably guide this into a win. The sort of... I think I go Oda here because I'm not 100% sure it won't click like a Dragon Stab. It might, you know, because it might see a kill here. So that's why I go into Oda here. Yeah, I really want to keep the Pokemon, my Pocket Monster. Sorry, I'm having an aneurysm at the moment, I can't think. I really want to keep my Ian Shao alive at this point. So I'm then going to bring in Toriyama, who has a very specific set. I didn't have this exact situation in mind with it, but it is helpful, and that's a Citrus Berry Acrobatics, so it can take the Dragon Claw and the Ball Punch. It didn't need to anyway, like, it didn't actually need this Citrus Berry. I don't even think it needed the Power Boost, so it was, I think, for an old plan, and I just forgot to change it. There we go, Toriyama's at level 51. I believe that this Sizzle only has Bullet Punch to do damage. Regardless, I can go into my Blaziken, Fujimoto, and it will be able to beat it. Nice and easy. Well, not that easy. I was very worried about this fight because, as I mentioned, Noivern, terrifying. So, yeah, shoutouts to the people that have given me advice so far. After this fight, though, it does not get much easier, because there is Ultra Necrozma, a psychic type with insane base stats and small Omni Boost, and then the Fairy Totem a little bit afterwards. How am I going to beat either of them? Because, well, +1, it's... like, Scragging's not going to do anything to Ultra Necrozma, especially because it's at +1 on everything. What can I do? Would you believe me if I told you Ultra Necrozma was really easy? Well, it was. Getting the thing to make Ultra Necrozma really easy was a bit more difficult. You can see here I'm playing against one of the... I forget what they're called, but they're like the kind of last-ditch master trainers. Like, you have to beat every trainer on a rat to be able to fight them. And they give you an item. And this lady has 4 Oricorios of every single type that all have Focus Sashes, and she gives you a Focus Sash for beating her. I just kind of had to rely on natural bulk and luck and their love of using Tita Dance in order to get this, but I did it. I have a Focus Sash. That's cool. why does a Focus Sash make Ultra Necrozma so free? I can teach Endeavor to char. What does Endeavor do? It means that whatever health you're at, it will set the opponent to. So if Halucha's at 1 health, it will set the opponent to 1 health. Because if I lead Halucha against Ultra Necrozma, which you can see right here, it will put me down to 1 activating the Focus Sash, and then I will Endeavor. Now you might be asking, well, okay, now it just takes Pokemon and then what, you bring in Scraggy? No. Because Char has Unburden. Because Char is the GOAT. So it has double speed now, meaning it is faster than Ultra Necrozma, and can take it out, dealing 1 HP of damage, and I've done it. That is such a good tactic for specifically Ultra Necrozma. A couple of the other totems as well. Like it would have been really good for the Fairy totem coming up. Fortunately, this is the only Focus Sash you can get. I didn't have the forethought to thieve the Focus Sashes from the Oricorios, though risking that, I could have lost a Pokemon. Because not that many of my Pokemon get Thief. But I've done it! I've got it! I'm through to Ultra Necrozma, and now I need to fight the Fairy type person? I forget their name. It's Mina, the painting lady. I have to fight Mina, and then I have to fight a Rabombi. How is a team of all fightings going to fight 2 big fairy matchups? Stick around. I say stick around like there's a fucking ad break or something else pulling your attention. You're like over half an hour into this goddamn video. If my general unpleasantness hasn't pulled you away from it, I don't know what will. As it turns out, Mina's trial isn't that difficult, at least the battle with her. Really, we just lead Toriyama and we click 3 attacks. Flamethrowing the Mawile, because actually, as it turns out, half our team is to Flyer. Then there's the Grand Ball, which we can Z Inferno Overdrive, which we're going to pick the strong one, not Flame Charge. We pick the strong one, please. Thank you. And then after that, we just have to take a Psychic from the Rabombi that comes out, which as long as it doesn't crit, we do. And then we beat it with Flamethrower. That's pretty simple. The rest of her trial is my favorite. I'm not going to show any of the fights for brevity's sake, but basically you do a boss rush of the other captains, that sort of stuff. Like, that's all, like getting the rest of the petals for a flower so that you can summon the totem. I'm going to show them. Very fun. Honestly, my favorite one. But we need to figure out a plan for Rabombi. And it doesn't take long for me to come up with something. Because I'm just so smart, obviously. And I've been waiting for this stuff for a while. In the Pony Wilds, you can finally get access to the Resist Berries. And those Resist Berries are going to be very important. And those Resist Berries are basically going to give us the opportunity to take advantage. And those Resist Berries are basically going to buy us a turn against Rabombi on each Pokemon, which is huge. See here that we are kitted up. We've got Roselli Berries, we've got Firium Z's, we've got a bit of a plan. So, how are we beating Mina? Well, Mina's totem anyway, the Rabombi. So this Rabombi has +2 in all of its stats. It also has the Occa Berry on it, so you can't just OHKO it with a strong Z Fire move, which I think we'd be able to do without the Occa Berry. I think it's possible. But we have to come up with a different strategy. And we have a decent one. We lead Char, and Char does have that Roselli Berry that you also saw on Beware, and we're going to click Endeavor with the plan of it knocking it into, you know, low health. Now it does Quiver Dance instead of attacking me. That's not great, but it's okay. If it Quiver Dances again, though, we're in trouble. It doesn't, so we can Endeavor, and that does a lot of damage to it. So it's definitely going to die to whatever hits it next. We're then going to bring in Isayama. It's unfortunate. I didn't want to sack this Pokemon here. I wanted to finish with more than 6 Pokemon. But we're going to be finishing with 6 Pokemon. We, of course, didn't bring Scrafty because what's it going to do here? It's 1 week. And we can bring in Tezuka. And Tezuka, as I said, as a Roselia berry, which means it will survive the Dazzling Gleam, it can Iron Head the Rabombi, and it will just... I guess. I'm fairly sure it takes that Scald from Pelipper anyway, but the stockpile is pretty good. We're just going to really speed up this Pelipper bit because it's quite boring. We just stall our Pelipper until it spits up, brings in Infernape, and then we Thunder Punch and it's gone. Nice and simple. But we are at Harpu, we're almost at the Elite Four. We have lost 6 Pokemon, and we've got 6 left. No more fighting type encounters for us, these 6 are our last 6. Can they do it? Can they avenge the Fallen? Can half the fighting types in Alola avenge the other half? We'll have to wait and see. Lightning round, because we're past the hour and a fucking half mark. Hapu is pretty easy. We bulk up 3 times with Beware, because now we have the bulk up TM, meaning basically all of our Pokemon can sweep whenever they have the best matchup. We Oko the Mudsdale with it and just manage to outlast Gastrodon and Flygon. Easy. Final Fantasy 13-3 Lightning Round returns. Speaking of returning, you know what else returned? Me not looking things up. I had no idea this Gladion fight was here. So, that's scary. Really Crobat, I am glad I hadn't switched leads or anything. I still had my lead for Hapu, so that's good. And at this point, I can just bulk up, and so I quickly looked it up on that Kingler health thing, which I don't think I've explained it. Kingler Health just basically has all of the EVs, IVs that trainers have from every generation, so that you can put your own Pokemons in and go for it. So I still had mine in from the Harpy fight. So Lucario does have Aura Sphere, so we've got to switch. We're going to Char. There's an Aura Sphere. Doesn't do much. We don't have a good move for this Lucario because I was not prepared to have to fight it. But we can go into Toriyama. And it will use a weaker move against us now because it's super effective. It's Metal Claw. It misses. That's amazing. We didn't need that miss, but it's very good. We can go for Fire Punch or a Sphere faster, but Fire Punch Okos. And Fujimoto heals. Then in comes the Silvally. Now the Silvally is Water type. But I'm an idiot. Because remember how I forgot about a certain Pokemon in the last 2 fights against Gladion? You'd think the third time would be the Charm, but it's not. Because as I switch in Oda here, I get Hyper Voiced and think, I get Crit Hyper Voiced. And I think, that's not multi-attack, is it? No, that was Hyper Voice from goddamn Zoroark. So, I bulldoze, it loses its speed, and breaks the disguise. Oda is now very weak, which sucks, because I wanted to use it to beat Silvally. But we can go into... I think do we go into Togashi or Char here? That is it's actually a pretty difficult one. Desperately looking up its move as well, I think, which explains the stalling. And... yeah, I have Endeavor, and Endeavor's not doing anything here. Like, Endeavor's used up its usefulness. If that was a fighting move, this would be so much easier. But I think I choose go into... oh, this is... you know what I'm doing here? I'm figuring out what I've got. So, there's a Hyper Voice, and we're just going to... Flamethrower, I think? Flamethrower? We Flamethrower, right? Heat from a little bit ago. We do. Zoroark is down. So now in comes the Silvally, and I have to dance around this a little bit. It is going to multi-attack, which will be Water type, so Oda can come in and absorb the water. And I just need to chip this thing. So I'm going to Bulldoze, Crush Claws. Doesn't get the defense drop, which is great. It lost that ability, it must have. And then I'm going to... I Scald. I don't think it matters. I just wanted to potentially burn it. Or maybe I forgot that it was a Water type. That's actually definitely something I would do. So I can now just confirm that Toriyama won't die. Because if you noticed, it had the Gracium Z. That was for Harpu if I needed it. But Grass Knot, I think, is 180 base power when it Z's? Yeah, I've got Grassium Z Grass Knot. So that... Oh, that's me checking the special attack. Maybe I didn't have the stuff in. Thrilling. Thrilling. This is how long these fights take if I don't know that they're coming up. You know, you might see me being like smooth and only making a mistake every now and then and only taking like 2 minutes per turn. But when I don't have an idea, I take like 5 minutes per turn. There's Bloom Doom. I like that it's kind of praying and then sprouting. That might be my favorite dance. Bloom Doom gets the Sylvalite and it's gone. And now finally, we are at the Elite Four. Thank God my foolishness didn't cost me right before the Elite Four. Let's talk about the Elite Four a little bit. There is 2 Elite Four members that we have a really good matchup into. A Rock type, Olivia, and that nerd guy from the Electric place. He's the Steel type. That's great. There's one it's okay. It's Ghost. Like, it doesn't seem like it'd be great, but we've got a lot of secondary stabs that can hit those Ghost types. They all have access to a Dark move. Could all be fine. The problem is going to be the Flying type one. That's the Golf Lady that you might have seen right at the start that gave us the Flying Z Crystal. She will be a problem. Then there's the Champion, and it's our rival guy. And he has a Noivern at this point, which might also be a problem. So I won't be surprised if we can't get past the Elite Four. But I'm very happy we got up to the Elite Four. After that Marowak fight, I was really... And then after the Raichu Alola, I was really worried we would just lose Pokemon, have to sack them constantly, and eventually just run out of gas. But we're here with a team of 6. That is amazing. Especially since I don't know this game! I need to make that clear. I do not know this game. I'm really proud of some of the solutions I've come up to in this run. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to seeing if I can beat it. But that's enough talk. We have a lot of flexibility. We have infinite BP. We have a bunch of move tutors. We now have the move relearner. We have a ton of TMs. And we have damage berries, like damage resisting berries. Can I figure out a way to guide this team to victory? Let's find out. It's been enough talk. It's time for the Elite Four. Professor Kui wishes us luck. And we go to face our first challenge. We're going from the easiest to the hardest, which is actually just in clockwise order, fun fact. Starting with the Steel type, Mulane, that's his name. I forgot his name when I just described him as a nerd. But, like, look at his glasses. Nerd. If you wear glasses, you're a nerd. We lead Togashi into the Klefki, because Klefki has Thunder Wave. And Thunder Wave can paralyze everything except Dark types, because it has Prankster. And I just didn't want my Pokemon paralyzed. So I click Bulk Up 3 times, whilst occasionally brick breaking away the Reflect that it sets up as it sets up 3 layers of spikes, but completely does not touch Togashi. The brick break as well means that the Reflect is useless, so that doesn't matter. The reason I bulked up to 3 times specifically was because now Crunch will Oko Metagross, and I don't need to worry about it, because otherwise its set of Zen Headbutt and Hammer Arm would actually be pretty annoying for this team. There is now the Alolan Dugtrio, but it does basically nothing with an Earthquake. We're at +3. Togashi's at level 60. That's pretty cool. In comes Magnezone. It does suck that I don't have a non-contact move for Dugtrio, because I got slower, which meant I was slower than Magnezone. And that crit now means that I have to switch out, which sucks. So I go into Toriyama, and it's hit by the Spike Stun Bot. As long as we don't get crit, we're fine. We don't get crit, we're fine. Flamethrower, Magnezone's down, and the only Pokemon they have left is Bisharp, and Bisharp doesn't have anything to do. It just loses to close combat. Nice and easy. that was Mullane. The next fight is against Olivia, so I'm going to make a couple of adjustments to my team, specifically the lead. I'm going to obviously heal all my Pokemon. I'm going to use like PP restoring berries, but I don't think I need it because I didn't end up using that many what do you call it, brick breaks or anything like that. And I'm going to have Beware lead, which you'll see now. Beware has leftovers and quick little wolf edits thing that probably went too fast for you to see. Bulk up, brick break, double edge, ice punch. And I wish I had a more interesting and, I'm going to be honest, unique strategy for Olivia, but this is the same strategy I've been using for a while at this point. I bulk up, and again, it's 3 bulk ups because it needs to hit a specific range. I think it's to Oko or Maldo, so it's like I might as well do it 3 times to Oko or Maldo. Actually, is that true? Do I even know? I don't think I actually Oko or Maldo. Whatever. 3 bulk ups basically just means it's over. And it also outpaces the Crush Claw 50%, which is good. I didn't think we got any that time, but it's possible. Maldo's down, and we are going to basically one-hit everything. Oh yeah, the reason we crunched with Scrafty against that Magnezone in the last fight, by the way, was because it has Sturdy. And I bring that up, and I got reminded about it, because after this Cradily is Probopass, which also has Sturdy, which is why we're Ice Punching here, so that we don't get into a loop of... what's that word? Like, just health loop, and that's actively bad for us, because it always paralyzes us turn 1, meaning, you know, it can just take a while. If we get paralyzed a lot, we could technically lose, but now we absolutely cannot lose. Gigalith's down, Olivia's down, and that was the easy 2. Now we're going to heal our Pokemon, obviously, and we're going to change a couple of movesets. The first thing, like the first big one, is we are getting the Brick Break option off of Beware, because if we don't do it, it doesn't actually have anything good for the Ghosts, but now it has something good for the Ghosts. Secondly, I had Grassy and Z for the Rock Gym, which actually probably in hindsight wasn't a great Z. I think I might have just forgot to change it the whole time. But it's back to Fire on Infernape, and I think I also have the Fire MZ on Blaziken. So those two should be able to provide some pretty big damage. I don't know if you can hear my cat in the background. Its name is Mimikyu. I've got a cat now. Oh, I mean, I've already got a couple of cats, but this is a new cat. She's cute. She's weird, though, and very needy. Speaking of weird and needy, Acerola. I don't know how she's weird and needy, but Acerola's trial, the totem, almost ended this run if I didn't remember the ability capsule existed. So let's see if by leading Blaziken, we can fix that. Oh no, we lead Infernape. Why did I think we lead Blaziken? To be fair, they're very similar Pokemon. We Inferno Overdrive the Bennett into Oblivion. It's gone. Gotten rid of a troubling Pokemon. Very good start. Now, Palisand here, we're going to go into Char, and you notice that I've got no item, but importantly, I've got Encore again. So I could Encore the Earth Power, but Encore doesn't work with Z moves. I know that fact. Like, it just doesn't. Like, if you Encore, but then they Z move that turn, then it won't work. So I actually have to switch between those two until it Z moves. I don't know if it'll Z move all the time, or if it won't, but regardless, it doesn't have any. If you just keep switching between Char and Tezuka, it just would switch between moves that can't do anything until eventually you'd be able to lock it into. Until eventually you would use it Z. Frostlass comes in but takes 1 billion from Acrobatics, which is cool. We go into Toriyama. Blizzard fortunately doesn't freeze. It's not the end of the world if it does. A full restore legitimately does not matter because Frostlass is down. And then out comes Palisand. And Palisand is going to Earth Power. You know what that means. We Char again, and we Encore. Now it's trapped, and the AI does seem to like to switch out when it gets Encored. We do one Acrobatics, doesn't switch out. The second time we do it, it goes into Delmise, but an Acrobatics, like, almost takes it, and then a second one does. So Now it's Palisand. Again, you can probably hear my cat munching away on some bickies now. We can go into Tezuka here, just try to get it in get it in a bit of a trap. Go into Char, Earth Power, then we're gonna Encore. And we have one, like, even if we want to, like, be a bit careful about this, we could just switch between Char and Tezuka forever. And it'd be fine. Because it'll just keep using the stabs until it runs out of them, and then it's only got Giga Drain, I think. And then Defense Boost. But instead, we decide to Scald. I did think it would use a potion. Maybe she only has one potion, but I really did think there'd be a potion there. Then in comes Driftblim. Driftblim can also only, like, I think it only has a Curse move, so it can't actually hit Tezuka. But I want to Ice Beam it and bring in Char. And that's because I want Char to level up to 60. You'll see why when it does. I should say, so I don't have the EXP share on, because I didn't want to just be able to disgustingly overlevel all my Pokemon, but can't avoid the EXP that you get regularly, so I'm using it to my advantage. Acrobatics, Aftermath, it's fine. Like Ominous Wind is its only offensive option, and then there's Swords Dance. There we go. If we didn't get Swords Dance, it's not the end of the world. We could use Bulk Up instead. We're really going to want to use Swords Dance for the flying golfer lady. So as we heal and get everything ready to go, I'm worried about this one. So thankfully, there is the Cobra Berries, and I have a lot of them. I have 6 Cobra Berries all up, so I will be putting them on most of my Pokemon. I think only the Fire types don't end up with one of them. Blaziken is just because I can't use all my Cobra Berries. I actually need some for the champion if I win this fight, which is a big if, let's be real here. Toriyama is because I want to put a Z Crystal on it, specifically Z Fighting, because that will allow me to sort of eliminate something. Honestly, the biggest threat here, weirdly, is the opposing Lucha. That is because it has Flying Press, which is usually a very bad move. It is technically both a Flying type and a Fighting type move, which is usually bad. But against a team that has 2 Pokemon that are both weak to Fighting and Flying, it actually becomes quite effective. So it will destroy Beware and Scruffy. But that's why it's such a threat. But I have like a rough plan, a bit of a plan. It's a Hood classic. It's based on stuff you've seen. But speaking of Hood classics, starting off, lead Toriyama, gonna Z fight. That's a Hood classic. Just taking out the big threat. Turn 1. That's the good stuff, because Braviary, don't need it. Don't need it. Don't need it. It's actually, honestly, like, the Brave Bird it has, I think, might be the strongest attack she's got. So just getting rid of it's great. Now, the Mandibuzz comes in, and it's their weakest Pokemon by far. So I can Thunder Punch here pretty fine, and I'm not going to die. I don't even think I died to a crit. Flatter sucks. I really did not want to see it do Flatter, because I knew it had Flatter, but I didn't know how likely it was to click it. And I don't want it to Flatter, because I want to fucking set up on this thing. But if it's just going to confuse me, then that makes it way less consistent. So that's rough. That sucks. You can see there, doesn't do that much. Maybe a crit would have taken, but it's the sort of risks. Like, I have to risk crits against the Flying type Elite Four. I just do. Because I'm not going to get anywhere if I don't take these sorts of risks. So in comes Swords Dance from Char, and there's the Flatter, unfortunately. I really wanted it to click Brave Bird. So I'm going to go into Fujimoto, because Fujimoto will live a Brave Bird from this, and only this. And I'm making a terrible, terrible, terrible choice here, because I have said that having 2 firefightings for redundancy is nice. It means I can lose one, and the other, it's okay, I still have the other. And I'm making the decision to lose one here to get better positioning. I don't know if it was worth it. I really don't. Thunder Punch on the Mandibuzz so that it has to use up potentially another potion on this Mandibuzz was important. Actually, I think Fire Punch would have done more damage in hindsight, actually. I probably should have done that. I've lost Fujimoto. That is the 7th Pokemon I've lost this run, which is crazy. I think that's more than all of the other runs I've done on this channel combined. I don't have the math in my head for that, but I'm fairly sure that's accurate. So, Char here is going to Feather Dance the Mandibuzz. And hope it doesn't use Flatter, but it does. That's very simple. So, Mandibuzz is at -2 attack, which is good. And we try to Swords Dance, but we get flattered, because fuck it, we might as well give it a go. It does like nothing through the Cobra Berry. We try to Swords Dance, and we do manage to Swords Dance, and that's nice. There's a Brave Bird from Mandibuzz, which is rough, but if we can hit this Roost, and we're not confused, we're doing really well. It full restores, which actually kind of sucks. We Roost, and now we have to Swords Dance again, because it won't actually Oko from... it won't Oko from fall. It needs to Swords Dance twice, so we have to risk it, and we unfortunately get hit by Flatter, and then it uses fucking Punishment for some reason. I have no idea why it used Punishment there. None. You know, hindsight, it doesn't make any sense. Why did it punish? Why did it use Punishment? I don't get it. I'm glad it did, don't get me wrong, but why did it Punishment there? That was such a bad move. So I break out of confusion and I Oko everything at +4, and now Char... I've won! I don't know how I did it. I thought I was fucked. I'm not kidding, I was just done, I was like, whatever, and I was just clicking moves, which is something I do a lot if I'm getting frustrated, but I won. I won! I'm at the fucking champion! I didn't expect this! And, because I didn't expect it, I don't know what to do. I'm looking up stuff, I'm calcing stuff, I just don't know. But I fucking did it, and I'm really happy I got here. I am so happy I got here, because I think I can do it. I think I can take the champion, and it's all because she used Punishment. Very strange behaviour from the AI there. It was a fair bit of time between these fights, because as I said, I had to plan. I didn't know what I was going to do. Professor Huksui, as you had mispronounced his name earlier, shows up and you think you're going to fight him, but no! You fight Hal. How? He's actually, I mean, I say how, like he's not easy, but no, he wrecked us. We have lost to him before. So really, this is a redemption for us. This is a redemption for a previous run. Now, I have put the Chopper Berry on Togashi. It didn't matter. Focus Blast missed, but I've got a Chopper Berry so that I never die. In comes the Noivern. The Noivern is really fucking scary. That Air Slash is gonna wreck us. Because I put the Chopper Berry on, I don't have a Cobra Berry on this, so I'm having a think, but I decide to just Ice Punch, because there's a chance, it's a rule that I survive the Air Slash. So I'm just gonna go for it. Air Slash, unfortunately... Oh, I live! Okay, that's cool. Oh, I crit! Oh my god! I think that crit mattered. Oh my fucking god. There's an Intimidate from a Tauros, but it doesn't matter, I don't care. Just sack this, let it go down. It's fine. Okay. I don't know 100% what to do. I'm just going to go into Toriyama. We are slower, but we should be fine. We should be fine. We can take any move that it has. No crit, no crit, no crit. Close combat. Tauros is down. Okay, that's amazing. Now, in comes the Vaporeon. But I have a way of winning this. It's just going to be very slow. Because now I can go into Oda. But this doesn't actually have moves for it. It's got Charm, it's got Baby the Lies, which you see there. It's got Quick Attack, and it's got Hydro Pump. This Vaporeon has nothing. Nothing into Oda. So I just have to sit here and Ice Beam it and fuck around. This is why I put Toxic on this, on Poliwrath, by the way, so I could just stall out Vaporeon. I thought it would be more useful than Hypnosis. This is going to take a while. It's going to take a bunch of toxic poison, and then he's going to use his full restore, which I predict right there because I am a genius child. I miss the toxic because I'm very talented. Baby doll lies, but it really doesn't matter. I think at this point I stop using Ice Beam and I just start using Bulldoze. I think because, and like Bulldoze is actually the better play. Damage doesn't really matter at this point, but I don't want them to like use full restore at a time that I don't expect it, and then for me to freeze it, and then I bring in Infernape and then they unfreeze. So Bulldoze is definitely the correct play and something I should have been doing all along. That's like, you know, that's real intense gamer differences there. I think they're going to use the full restore here, so I call it again, and I use Toxic, and I believe he's out of full restores. I believe he is. So I can just sit here and wait, and wait, and wait. Vaporeon is taking a lot of damage. Bulldoze is gonna slowly chip it down. We still have 4 Pokemon after Oda. So 4 Pokemon after Oda. Now, what does suck is Hawlucha didn't get to use its Coma Berry. I say that sucks in air quotes, but it does mean that its Acrobatics, which is its only attacking move, is not going to do much. But it's fine. We Bulldoze, and it takes it, and then it eats the Toxic, which finally gets to it, and then there's the Decidueye. So, I need to make a call, and I make the call to just let this die. It uses the Z grass move, Bloom Doom, and that sucks. Oda's gone, but it doesn't matter. This is the last battle. I've got 3 Pokemon left. I can outspeed it with Toriyama. I can outwall it with Tezuka, but it would be very remiss of me not to use... Oh, I do use Tezuka, never mind. Do I use Tezuka? Yeah, it would be very remiss of me not to use the MVP of this run. It has had basically the same, like, fucking move. Like, one attack. Again, it's had basically the same moveset of Grass Stab, Flying Stab, Feather Dance, Roost this whole run. After a Swords Dance, we outspeed Decidueye, and Crabominable can't take a fucking anything from my team, and we fucking done it. We have won. A run that I thought was fucked multiple times. A run that I thought was impossible against Komodo, against Mimikyu, against Marowak, against the Flying Lady. I thought that this was awful. I thought we were done. We have gone through, before the final battle, we went through 7 Pokemon. After the battle, like, we lost 7 Pokemon. After the final battle, well, we lost another 2? 9? So we went through 9 Pokemon all up, if, you know, we're being really strict. For the Elite Four, we went through 6. That is so many Pokemon. We managed to come up with ideas. All of our Pokemon ended up with max EVs, by the way. Because I ended up just pumping them through so many calciums when they were young, and when they were young, low levels, you know what I mean. And I'm really proud of this run. I didn't come up with all the strategies, but I came up with a fair few of them by myself. And this was thinking outside the box, being creative, and using the many flexibility options that Ultra Sun gives you. This was really fun. I don't know if I'm ever going to do a Gen 7 run again, though, because look at the fucking length of this video. There was the occasional graphical glitches. It's... I never want to see Totem Lola Marowak again in my life. You know. So I don't know if I'll ever do another one here, but this was a very fun one to do. Really, all that's left is to leave the teaser for next. There is one game on this channel that I have not been able to beat. I've beaten every other game. This one, I have not beaten. I lost with grasses, and I lost with steels. It's the 3rd time the charm, because I am coming for Pokemon Platinum, and I am going to beat a Monotype Nuzlocke challenge with it. Remember, everyone, the important thing, it's not just the friends we made along the way, but it's that you like, subscribe, comment, retweet, reblog, print out a script of this video and start rapping to it. Once again, harass your local KFC or McDonald's worker with the script of this video until they either give you 10% off or call the police. Send this to your local member of parliament. Send me a lot of money somehow. You know, just do the things that real fans would do. And I'll see you next time.